Over the 2020 college football season, BYU quarterback Zach Wilson dazzled fans and shot up draft boards. Now, his season is over, and people are wondering if he played well enough to be considered the second best QB prospect in the 2021 NFL Draft, and whether the Jets should take him with the second overall pick. As a Jets fan, it was important for me to figure out the answer to these questions for myself, so I dissected Wilson's film, statistics, and off-the-field personality, and today I'm going to present my full scouting report to you. Hello everybody, my name is Jack Smith, and I'm trying to bring you guys the cold, hard truth on everything football. If this interests you, make sure you go down and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on any more college football or NFL content. While you're down there, please leave a thumbs up on the video and leave a comment letting me know your opinion of Zach Wilson so we can converse down in the comment section. Without further ado though, let's get into my scouting report starting with the film. The biggest thing that stood out to me when watching Zach Wilson on film is how well he processes the field. Wilson has an innate ability to find completions and find them quickly, and he always seems like he's a step ahead of the play and a step ahead of his competition. He knows when to check the ball down, he knows when to tuck the ball and run, and he knows when to push the ball downfield. And a combination of those two is something that many quarterbacks do not have. Wilson is both a smart quarterback and a strong quarterback. He's not just one that will process the field and dink and dunk like a game manager. He's also one that can be explosive and go out and make big plays. And that total package is something that you don't see very often. A lot of quarterbacks can process the field, but Wilson's arm talent is what makes him a first-round QB. Wilson has a hyper quick release, and his passes have some real zip on them, which when paired with his tremendous accuracy allows him to fit his passes into the tightest of windows. Also, Wilson is great at throwing off platform, something you need to be in the NFL, because you look like guys like Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert. All these guys are able to make off platform throws, and that's something Wilson does with the best of them. I want to break down a few plays from Wilson's film to show you exactly what I'm talking about specifically. This throw from Wilson against UCF in a bowl game which he dominated has been one of the most talked about plays in college football all season and is the most talked about play on Wilson's film. Wilson drops back and he's got a post over the middle of the field towards the end zone, and his ball placement is some of the best I have ever seen in a single throw, college or the NFL. He puts the ball literally right where the receiver needs it, right in the breadbasket on the end zone. And that wouldn't have been possible unless he looked off the defender in the middle. But the incredible ball placement is what sets this play apart from almost any play I've seen in college all season. In this play against Troy, Zach Wilson is rolling out to his left and he's got two options. He's playing against a cover 2 defense, so he knows that if the underneath is taken, he can go to the deep crosser route in the corner of the end zone because he knows it'll be open based on what he's seen on film. His eyes quickly dart from the first read to the second, and he unloads a perfect pass into the end zone for a touchdown. Wilson's able to convert what he sees on film to immediate production on the field because he knows what's going to be open. And this is what I talked about, the grasp of the field around him and the grasp of what's going on. And that's what really impressed me when watching Wilson on the field. Like I mentioned before, however, it's not only reading the field for Wilson. He has elite arm talent and can make every throw on the field. Look at this one against Western Kentucky where he climbs the pocket and unloads an on-the-run deep ball, hitting his guy perfectly. He never puts it in harm's way. He puts it where only his receiver can get it, and that is just an elite throw. There's no two ways about it. An excellent throw from Zach Wilson that shows you that arm talent that I was talking about. Wilson is a smart QB who can see the field around him very well, but unlike many other QBs like him, he can convert what he sees into big plays, touchdowns, and completions consistently and seemingly effortlessly. Now, I know I'm kind of raving about the guy, but that does not mean he isn't without his problems. While he is a maneuverable quarterback, he kind of has a tendency to roll out of too many clean pockets. He thrives outside of the pocket, but needs to work on being more comfortable inside of the pocket because that's something he's going to be asked to do more in the NFL. And so while he matches the NFL mold of being able to maneuver and make plays happen, he has to learn to be more comfortable inside the pocket because that's where he's going to be asked to play the most. Overall, the film shows you a quarterback that knows what's going around him at all times and is often a step ahead, but he's also able to capitalize on what he sees with his arm talent, his technique, his footwork, and everything else, and that's why people love him so much going into the draft. Wilson obviously excels on film, but he always has. It's just been the production and the statistics that he needed to get onto his side. So let's dive into his stats and see what we can find out about him as a prospect. Most of the time, the film is the most important part of these scouting reports, but Wilson's always had that on his side. He just needed to show that he could produce at an elite or NFL level, and this season he has. Over the course of 12 games, Wilson led the Cougars to an 11-1 record, completing 73.5% of his passes for 3,692 yards, 33 touchdowns, and only a mere 3 interceptions. Wilson also proved to be a threat on the ground, adding 254 yards and 10 touchdowns rushing, which allows him to fit the mold of what the NFL is becoming and what teams are looking for in quarterbacks. Teams nowadays need quarterbacks to be mobile. They're not exactly looking for running quarterbacks, but simply quarterbacks that can run, which is something you see in a guy like Josh Allen, who's been doing so well for the Bills this year. That's actually one of the comparisons I might make for Zach Wilson. I think he's a combination of Josh Allen and a little bit of Kyler Murray. I'm not saying he's going to be as great as those guys. We can't see that yet, but I think that their play styles are very similar. The way he throws, the way he runs, what he sees on the field. I see kind of a combination of Josh Allen and Kyler Murray. This year, Wilson elevated his game and showed teams that he's not only a quarterback who shines out on tape, but also a quarterback who can be explosive and put up numbers. And that's what you need to be able to do if you want to be a first-round pick. You can't just have one of the two. And this year, Wilson put it all together and showed that he has both of those characteristics. And now we've talked about Wilson's film and statistics. Let's get into who he is off the field before getting into my overall opinion as a Jets fan on Zach Wilson. Off the field, Wilson is a super hardworking kid and a football nerd who devotes himself to film study and getting better. I watched a great feature piece on him by BYU TV Sports that I'll link up here so you guys can go watch after this video. But in that video, Wilson talked about studying film with his dad after he was young, and during all of his games, they would study every play and work on what he could do better. And his mom was saying that at one point, he realized that's not just a tedious thing, but it's what he loved. And that's when Zach Wilson started to become who he is, and that's when he started to explode. His coach now at BYU says he studies tons of film and that he's always trying to improve. And also Zach talked about driving 10 hours after their practices for BYU to come to California to work with his quarterback coach. And it just shows you the level of devotion that this kid has and how much he wants to succeed. He obviously loves the game of football. He wants to get better as a quarterback, but he also wants to get better as a person. He told his mom that he always wants her to remind him of the song Humble and Kind by Tim McGraw. And she literally shed a tear talking about that. And it just shows you the effect that Wilson has on people, what he wants to be as a person. And if you're going to put a first round pick into a player, especially a franchise quarterback, you need them to be a good person who wants to get better, both as a football player and as a human being. And Wilson obviously does that. So off the field, Wilson is the best prospect I have seen so far this year through my scouting reports. After all that has happened this season, Zach Wilson has put himself into a position to be considered the second best quarterback prospect in the 2021 NFL draft class behind Trevor Lawrence. And from what I've seen through the film, the statistics, and his off-the-field personality, he's definitely worthy of being in consideration. He has a pure football brain and the arm talent that you want to see when you're looking at an NFL quarterback, and his mold and play style fit the build of the current modern NFL quarterback that teams are searching for. In the end, I think there's no wrong choice between him and Justin Fields at 2. It just comes down to what you are looking for specifically in your prospect. If you want the safer option who has the higher floor but a lower ceiling, Zach Wilson is your guy. But if you want a player a little bit riskier with a little bit more upside, then you look at Justin Fields, who has a lower floor but a higher ceiling and more potential as a quarterback. Personally, as a Jets fan myself, if the Jets go with a quarterback with a second overall pick, which I'll never admit I want because Sam Darnold's my favorite football player of all time, I would prefer if they lean towards Zach Wilson just because he's the safer option who doesn't sacrifice much explosiveness. And I believe that with what the Jets are like right now, they need the safer player. So if they go with a quarterback, Wilson's my guy because what I've seen on film, in his statistics, and off the field. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching my scouting report on Zach Wilson. Jets fans, if you're watching this, I want to know who you want with a second overall pick. Do you want Zach Wilson? Do you want a guy like Justin Fields, who I've also done a scouting report on, which I'll link up right here so you guys can watch them. This is actually a continuation of a series where I do a lot of scouting reports, so I'll put the playlist up here as well so you can watch all of them. If you haven't already, please leave a like on the video and leave a comment with your opinion of Zach Wilson because I want to converse with you guys. It's really my favorite part of doing these videos, having discussions down in the comment section. Also, please make sure to subscribe for more NFL and college football content and hit the notification bell so you get notified every time we post a new video. But thank you so much for watching. Go Jets, and I will see you guys next time.